Welcome back to Hume's Little Homestead. Before we get started, I have something to show you. Look how cute this is. It's an egg holder, and a friend brought it by. She brought us dinner, and she brought this by, and it is so cute. I want to try it out, so I have a whole bunch of eggs here. I should just show you the eggs. All different colors and sizes. I'm super excited with how many eggs we've been getting. I actually meant to take some eggs to my mom, but I forgot. I had them in a basket here and I just kept forgetting to take them. She ended up buying some from the store. So I'm gonna try out this little chicken thing. I hope that it works. I think they go in like that. Ooh, let's do a green one next to the brown one. Ooh, let's do a pattern. That is so fun. Seriously, so fun. I still have some more down here, so I also have in the fridge, oh my goodness, I have an egg. It's like an egg shelf. I bought it off Amazon. If I remember, I will put a link in the description where I bought this. It's also really nice. It holds 60 eggs. So that bottom shelf is full of eggs. I really should have taken them to my mom's. Anyway, I'll just put them in here. Hold this up so you can see. I always store eggs pointy side down. I don't think it really matters if you're not gonna hatch them. I'm just in the habit of doing it that way. If you're hatching eggs, you wanna store them pointy side down for sure. And I'm just in the habit of storing them this way, so that's what I like to do. But I am loving all these green eggs and brown eggs and dark brown eggs. So much fun. I've had questions about if they taste different than like the white eggs at the store. No, they do not. Well, homegrown eggs, I believe, taste way better than store-bought eggs. I just think that they have a richer flavor, better flavor than store-bought eggs. And I believe the sole reason for this is because these eggs are more fresh. In the store, they've been shipped. Who knows how long they've been in the cartons? You just don't know. And so here at home, I only keep eggs a couple of weeks and then I am rotating through. So anyway, I think that's why. Plus, I know what they're eating and I know that they're getting a good life. Sometimes I think about the chickens that are producing the store-bought eggs, and I don't know any other way that the big companies could do this, because I know that they're in like a little box their whole life, in a little tiny cage, just laying eggs their whole life. And that makes me really, really sad. So the animal lover in me prefers free-range chickens and my own chickens, because I know what they've been fed and for the most part what they've been doing. They can get into a lot of stuff. You never know. video. I have been brainstorming what I can do in the winter because there's less chores to do outside to share and less, not necessarily less, but most of the time in the winter I get out, do the chores as quickly as I can, which I have a story for you I will share very soon. In the middle of this video, I'm planning on having story time with you. But anyway, I just find that there's less fun chores to show what's happening in the winter. So I came up with an idea. I want to say a little disclaimer because the title of this video is going to be bread baking and sourdough starter. I have personally not had a successful sourdough starter, so this is not a how-to video. This is not an instructional. I am not an expert in this field. I would appreciate any tips and advice on baking as I am learning. It's not that I've never baked before, it's just that I usually only do it once every couple of months or once a year when it's Christmas time and it's time to start baking. So I've decided this fall and winter, once a week, I want to start baking bread and learning more about making bread. So, like I said, this is not a how-to. I will share recipes I'm using. Today, the recipe I'm using comes from this book, The New Cookbook. A few months ago, our family did a challenge called Cooking from Scratch Challenge, and I have made an entire playlist of those meals that we did, and most of those meals came out of this book right here. And I noticed as we were doing that challenge, I baked once out of this book. I baked some donuts because Hannah was really wanting some donuts, and that used to be our thing. When we dropped off the big kids at school, we'd go to Safeway, get some donuts, and have a little treat while the big kids were at school, and Emmett was still a tiny baby at that point. But anyway, she was sad because we hadn't been doing our donut run because we were doing this challenge, cooking from scratch, and I only wanted to go to the grocery store once that month, which we were nearly successful. We made it like 25 days. So anyway, I'm getting the bread recipes out of here. That's kind of when I came up with the idea that maybe when fall comes, I'll try baking bread out of this. So I'm just going to start with the first bread recipe in this book. It is called Easy Mix White Bread, and it is on page 59. And again, I'm not going to share the exact recipe because I don't have the copyrights to this book. I don't feel very good about sharing. When I have recipes, because I will look for online recipes as well, when I have those recipes, I will share word for word what the blog says, and I will share that in the description. But because I don't have the copyright to this book, so I want to honor the author, honor the recipe, and just keep it in the book. So hopefully if you have this book, go dig it out, and if you want to do this recipe with me, great. If you have tips for me while this is happening, also great. And like I said, I'm not brand new to baking, I'm just not the best. So this is going to be kind of like let's see if we can improve our skills on the homestead in this area, and I'm going to do it with you all. So like I said, I'm going with the first recipe called Easy Mix White Bread on page 59 in the new, or Better Homes and Garden New Cookbook. And this one, I don't know, this one's a little bit of an older one. My mom gave it to me when she was cleaning out her house. So anyway, I don't know what year this one is or anything like that. It's one of the older versions, so if you have a newer one, it might not be page 59. Maybe it is. Let me know in the comments. All right, I'm gonna start. I will tell you what's in this bread. It's all-purpose flour, dry yeast. I don't have a package, but I don't have packages, but I just measure it out, and I wrote down over here. Maybe I didn't. I'm gonna have to Google that. How many teaspoons equals one package of dry yeast. It also calls for milk, regular white sugar, shortening, and salt, which I have all of those things. I think I have shortening. If not, I will maybe just substitute butter for that. Shortening would probably work better. This is why I'm not the best at baking. I just substitute things and throw it in. Anyway. out for this job, and I believe this is the right hook to use. I think it's a bread hook. I think. All right. Like I said, this is not an instructional. This is a let's see if Katie can improve in baking area. And if you want to watch along, great. And I do have shortening. I'm super excited, but I have to show you something very funny. It's not opened because I don't bake very often. So we're gonna open it right here. I was cracking up because I'm like, I thought I had some in the cupboard, and I looked and I'm like, oh, of course, it's not even opened. I try and buy things at Sam's Club, and sometimes when I buy things, I forget because I've got so many things that I've bought. So I'm sure that's what happened. That I didn't need it right away, but I was like, hey, I'll grab some because I'm here. Our Sam's Club is an hour and 45 minutes away or 2 hours away, so that's why I do that. So, okay, first thing first, I've got to put some flour and yeast in this bowl, and then I have to heat some milk, sugar, and shortening until it's 115 degrees Fahrenheit to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to grab my candy thermometer and head over there. First, I'm going to put the flour and yeast in this bowl, which that was interesting to me because every time I've made bread, I mix the yeast with like warm water for a bit. So that is a different, interesting instruction. It's instant yeast though, active instant yeast. So maybe that makes a difference. It's starting to melt, so I think I'm gonna call it good. Look how interesting that looks. It says, just till warm, almost melted. That looks almost to me. Okay, I'm gonna pull it off the heat now. Okay, that's almost melted. It's still a glob, but it's almost melted. Add to flour mixture. Okay, gonna go for it. Now it says to beat at a low speed for half a minute. So, I guess I can just keep track on there. Is that 30 seconds? So when it's at 1 minute, that'll be good. And it says to scrape the sides. One of the comments from last, the fluffiest cookie recipe said that there's an attachment for this. So I'm definitely going to be looking for that attachment. That's really cool. But right now, I'm going to do it this way for now. Smells really good. Ah! Lost my thing. Oh, it's been half a minute. Okay. Whoops. So it's been half a minute. Now it says beat for 3 minutes at high speed. So I'm gonna do that. All right. Next step is to add in remaining flour. As you can, mix with a spoon. Well, I'm going to use this thing and see how much flour I can get in there. Okay. Hi, buddy. Did you have a good nap? Did you wake up? Yeah, you want to see what I'm doing? Okay. Okay. Let's do this on low. Emmett woke up from his nap. Say hi. I'm making bread today. Bread. All right. As I was moving the ingredients, I realized I did not add salt, and I believe it is too late to add salt at this point. Oops. Maybe that'll just affect the flavor. Saltless bread. I don't know. All right, don't forget to add your salt. I was supposed to add it while the milk and sugar and shortening was melting over there on the saucepan. You're supposed to add the salt in there, and I didn't do that. So, oopsie. Here is what it's looking like. Now it says to turn it out onto a lightly floured surface. Looks pretty good to me. For it to rise. Mad. The next step is for it to rise for 1 1/4 hours, so 1 hour and 25 minutes. Now, we have a story to tell them. You want to tell the story? Do you remember what happened this morning with the quail? We came outside to tell the story. He wants to ride his tricycle. Go get it. Go get your trike. this morning I came out to feed the animals with Emmett, and we were just doing everything real quick, trying to get everything done quickly so I could get started on the bread, because I knew it was going to need rise time, which is one of the reasons I'm not great at baking. It takes a lot of patience for all of the different steps, and I miss ingredients. As you saw, I missed the salt. So we came out here to the quail. I opened this one. I got them all fresh water. So the only step left was to give them a little bit of food. And it does not take long for me to open this door, and put the food in. I opened the door, and my little brown quail that I love so much jumped out so fast. And to make things worse, I have locked out our cats today, because anytime I do baking or cooking, I lock out the cats because I don't want their hair, because they like to climb on the counters and it's crazy. So I always wipe everything down really good and lock the cats out. So the quail jumps out, the cat sees the quail, pounces, the quail hops again and hops over our fence right there in those weeds. Just jumps right over, and in the meantime, Emmett is sitting on the four-wheeler and trying to turn it on, and I was getting really scared that he was going to hurt himself, so I ran and grabbed him off the four-wheeler, and then I said, Emmett, stay right here. He was standing right here watching me, and I crawled through this little hole because I knew we had one hole in our fence. I crawled through this little hole, crawled under it, and then ran over there to try and find this little quail. I could not find the quail. I could not find it. And the cat was also searching because it had pounced, and as it flew, it pounced again. And our cats are hunters. We have cats because of mice, and they always hunt and bring us stuff. And I was just like, oh, my quail, don't die, quail. So then I can't find Emmett again. And I knew he ran into the garage. And there's too many dangerous stuff in here for him to be in here. So I abandoned the quail situation, run all the way around the gate because I scraped my arm and I didn't want to go under that hole again. And I ran in here, got a stroller, strapped him into the stroller, ran back over there thinking I didn't see it hop again. It's got to be over here. So I jump over, looking in the grass, trying to find this quail. And while I'm looking through the grass, the stroller that I have parked, I parked it on a little bit of a hill. And poor Emmett goes face forward in the stroller, strapped in, onto the ground, just face first on the ground. I felt so bad. So I jump over, help Emmett get the stroller up, make sure he's okay. There's nothing too wrong. He had like a little bit of a red mark on his cheek where he had hit the ground, and I was just like, oh my goodness. So then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to find this quail. It's way too camouflaged, and it's just in these really, really tall weeds and grass. So I walk back over to this side of our yard, and the cats are still kind of over here lurking around, and I thought, I don't want to give up this easy. It's got to be around here. I didn't see it because I wanted to see if it had maybe waddled through. Do you call that? Do they waddle? Waddled through the fence area like this. And then I saw all of our PVC pipe, and I thought, I'm going to try one more time to find this quail. And then I said a little prayer because I was like, I can't handle one more thing right now. Please just let me find this little quail. I worked so hard to hatch them. And I said a prayer, and it was, I don't know, I felt silly praying over something so small, but I do know Heavenly Father listens to us no matter how small our prayers are. So I see the PVC pipe after I've said this little prayer, and I thought, I'm going to go whack the grass. I'm going to go back over there and whack the grass like this and see if I can scare it and make it hop up, because when they're scared, they like hop up. So we walk back over around to the grass, and you can see how tall and thick this grass is. So I'm whacking the grass from the other side here, just like this, and nothing, no quail. I hop over the ditch. Oh, and on top of it all, the ditch is full of water because everyone irrigated last night, probably for the last time for the year. And there's irrigation water completely filled in our ditch. And I'm like, it probably fell in the ditch and drowned. And so I hop back over the fence and I start doing this with the PVC pipe, just knocking the grass like that. And then the cat smells something, and the cat is still over here, and it smells something, and it jumps on something, and I thought, no way. But I start walking away because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to find this quail. And then it pounces again and it's holding on to something. So I walk over there really quick and I part the grass right there, and there it is, right there, the little brown quail, right. It hadn't moved since it hopped over the fence. It just held very still because it didn't want to get eaten or die. And all of this was happening within like 30 to 45 minutes. So it just sat there for that long and it was crazy. I'm so grateful that we found it. I know it's just a little quail, but I've got 8. I only have 8 and I really want to breed them. And so I'm working on getting them to lay more eggs so that I can reserve them and hatch them so that we can actually taste quail meat and see if we like the quail meat, to see if we like them. And so we haven't tasted any of them yet because these are my breeders. So this is our funny story for the day, and I'm so glad we found the little brown quail and that I had locked the cats out. Well, I think the whole situation could have been avoided if the cats were not outside, because the cats scared the quail in the first place to jump out of the cage. And then the hutch. And then the cat found it for me. So I guess it was good that the cats were out. It was so crazy. I just had to tell that story today because it was crazy and funny, and I'm so glad we found the little brown quail. There's the escapee right there. And it just like, whoop, flew right over my head. It was crazy. I'm so glad it's okay. It has been an hour and 15 minutes, and I actually have to get this show on the road. So I'm going to move on to the next step. It's definitely doubled. So now I've got to punch it down and roll it out. I skipped a step, but I have to go, the school called and I have to go get my daughter. And actually, I'm going to pick them all up since I have to get one. And we're really close to the end of the day. I had 1 hour before I was going to leave, so it was going to work out perfect. But anyway, I skipped. It says to let them rest, so they were on the counter. I was supposed to let them rest for 10 minutes at that point. And instead, I just moved on to the very last step to put them in. So now I'm going to brush them with butter and cover them, and then they rise for 1 more hour. So that should be 1 to 2 hours, 45 to 60 minutes. Ugh, this is why I never make bread. My time never allows me to do it the right way. So anyway, we're gonna see how this works. I'm gonna brush it with butter, cover it, hope that it doesn't rise too much or not enough, and then I'm gonna pop them in the oven when we get home. All right. Here is how I'm leaving the bread. Oh, I hope I can get home in time. It's supposed to only rise for 45 minutes to an hour, and I just hope that this doesn't ruin everything because I'm working so hard to make some fresh bread today. All right, it's not working out, is it? We just got back. I'm gonna put the oven to 375, and here's how the bread is looking. Not too bad. So I'm gonna carefully peel this part off. It filled out the loaf pans really nicely, at least. So that is really nice and pretty. And then I'm gonna put them in the oven for 45 minutes. The other part of this video that I really want to do is I want to have a successful starter for sourdough starter. Now, I've tried this a couple times. I think only twice, but still, 2 times to try something and fail can be discouraging. So I'm gonna try again, and I found a recipe called Simple Sourdough Starter. The blog that I found is called feastingathome.com, and I will share that link in the description box. I will share that link in the description box. Everybody's home now, so this isn't as quiet as when everyone's at school. And the ingredients are whole wheat flour, which I happen to have half a bag left, so whole wheat flour, and it says filtered water. I accidentally got distilled water. I don't know if that matters. I thought it needed to be distilled water, so that's why I got distilled. But I guess it's just supposed to be filtered. So a wide mouth mason jar, 120 grams of whole grain flour, whole wheat flour, and it says if you want organic white bread to use a different kind of flour. I don't have that. I'm going to use what I have. Whole wheat flour is what I have. And 120 grams of filtered water. So I'm going to do the flour first. I'm going to find my unit here. My battery's almost dead in this little guy. This little thing. Grams, perfect. All right, I'm gonna put it in this little cup. Oops, zero it out. There we go. So what I've noticed is when bread has to rise too long, so this bread was supposed to rise for 45 to 60 minutes. But unfortunately, it takes me 2 hours to get from my house to the school and back. So it's been 2 hours, and you can see it's not as fluffy on top as it was. So I'm trying to get the oven preheated as quickly as I can, but it's definitely falling, and it makes me really sad. So I'm thinking I might have to do this project on a different day than when the days aren't that my kids are in school. But right now, here's what it's looking like, and I'm just waiting to put it in the oven. Got it? Yep, just like that. All right, so we're gonna do 120 grams of this wheat flour. 30, 45. Oh, there we go. 120, 121. Stay right there, don't move. I'm gonna get that out. I want exact measurements here because I failed at this before. Okay, there we go. 120 grams. All right. I'm gonna put that bread in since it beeped. Thanks, Levi. Here we go. Starting in the morning or at night, using a wide mouth mason jar, mix 1 cup of whole grain flour, or it's 120 grams if you measure it with your kitchen scale. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with the water and make sure I have the exact 120 grams of water. I'm super bummed. It had filtered water right there, but I was thinking, no, it needs to be distilled because I thought that I had read on a previous one. Maybe filtered and distilled is similar. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Oops. There's 140 grams of water. $128. $118. See if I can drip a little drop in there. Nope. 118. 124. It probably doesn't have to be this exact. I just really don't want to fail again. 122. 121. 120. All right. There you go. 120. Using a fork, make sure you've incorporated the dry flour. I'm gonna pour it in there. For your first measuring, it is a good idea to weigh the flour using a kitchen scale. It should be like thick paste. This is very thick. Looks super thick. I don't know. It doesn't look. I'm not sure if this looks right or not. I forgot to put a timer on that bread. I have no idea when I put it in the oven. It was supposed to be 45 minutes. I put it on 35 minutes to see. Okay. This is very thick. Okay. Thick like peanut butter. It looks kind of bad. I guess it's like peanut butter. Looks more like I can see the dry flour down in the bottom of the jar. I want that to be in it. If you need it to be, add a little more water to incorporate the flour. That is okay, but be precise with the flour. Okay, I think I'm gonna add a tiny bit more water. Because I can see a whole bunch of dry flour down there, and I don't think that's going to be good. So I am adding that much. Half of that much, because I don't want the whole one. I'm going to dump this into the bottom there. That's what I see. Flour. Okay. Plastic wrap. Let it sit at. All right, that looks more like peanut butter to me. Yeah. So I added a little more. I would say I probably added 140 grams of water. Okay. All right, that's how it's looking. Now, it says place the lid on top. So I'm gonna use plastic wrap and let it sit at room temperature, 70 to 80 degrees, on the kitchen counter for 24 to 48 hours or until you see some bubbling. If you're not sure how warm it is, use a kitchen thermometer and check it in a few hours. Okay, my house is usually, we have our heater set to that high, so in between those temperatures. I like it warm in our house. So I'm gonna put the plastic wrap on this. Ooh, we're running out of plastic wrap. Ooh, the bread is smelling good. Okay, here we go. Now, I will give you an update tomorrow on how this is looking in 24 hours. It is about 3:30, 3:18 in the afternoon. I realized the computer down here has the time. Here's how it is looking on the first day. Well, when I barely made it. So the first day will be tomorrow. 24 hours will be tomorrow. So we're gonna let it sit on the counter. I'm also gonna read through this blog. It has a lot more information on here, and I'm gonna see if I can troubleshoot where I went wrong last time. It smells like it's done. It looks really yummy. I'm gonna grab it out. the instructions say to remove from pan, so I'm gonna try and do that now. They've cooled a little, but I'm gonna try and remove them from the pan right now. Really hot.
Did they just come out? Fresh baked bread. It's the best.
It worked. It worked, it worked, it worked. That's so cool. All right.
Why'd you take your oven lid off?
Because I just did.
You tried to celebrate with it off?
Okay.
Yum.
They worked. They look beautiful. Okay, we can cut one now. And
Let's
try it
cut
out.
the one that came out first.
This one?
Yes.
All right.
It's on the chopping block.
What do you think?
It looks
Look good.
What is that stuff?
Sourdough starter. You trying again?
Oh no.
You want to tell them about our last experience?
That's the sourdough stuff. Stinks. Stinks bad.
This is our last experience.
Yes. Back to cutting the bread. It smells so good.
I think you're probably supposed to wait for it to cool off before we cut it, but I love warm bread.
I know. Ooh, it's smoking.
Steaming.
Ooh. If it was smoking, probably would light our house. Would have the smoke alarms go off in our house.
Maybe.
Maybe. We haven't checked the batteries in a while, people. You're supposed to do that once a month.
Fire safety. Oh, look how it looks.
This isn't one of the professional loaves of bread from the Baker channel. But it's a good loaf of bread.
Okay, we're going to try the bread.
We should give Emmett the hoof.
Do you want to try it?
Can
Wait
I try
to
some
try
with
it.
honey?
Oh, we should have put butter on it.
Ooh,
Do you want butter?
Yes, please.
Okay, wait. Nobody eat it. Oh, we don't have any butter out.
Oh.
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Don't eat it yet. Don't eat it.
Don't eat it, Emmett.
Oh, and it's okay. He's just a baby.
He's waiting it.
He's waiting?
Sure, I'll have some butter. After we try it, can I try some with honey?
Sure. We have to give our honest review. This is Easy Mix White Bread.
What's white bread? Haven't we tried made this before?
Emmett's coughing on everybody's bread.
Emmett got a little bit sick. Can I try it? Now, Mom?
No. We're trying it as a family.
Look. That's gross.
Don't let Emmett cough on your bread.
I'm licking it. That's gross.
Okay, Kaden, here you go. Let me butter mine.
Hannah isn't in it.
It's okay. Hannah's tired.
If I stand up, I could tie. Her ears started hurting. So
All right, everybody.
during PE.
Okay. Look into the camera. Let's try it. Try it, Emmett.
Good. Tastes like last time we
Honest
made it.
opinion.
Bingo, bango, boom.
We haven't made this kind yet. Thumbs up from you too, Emmett. Thumbs up.
Do
you have-
you
You guys want to know something? I forgot one ingredient.
What?
Salt. So I'll have to try it again and remember to add the salt.
Yes, thank you, Mommy, for making it.
Oh, good. We recommend everybody try it.
Yeah. What if I said?
Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Here's Little Homestead. Can I see which is the recipe at Here's Little
What?
Homestead.com?
We don't have one of those.
Not that famous yet.
Bye.
See ya.